not sure I understand all of the sculptures and structures in that yard, but they're pretty cool nonetheless. All right, I think 2 minutes or so of 5 to 11% grade up.
Oh, I thought you were someone else.
No, well, maybe, but I feel like there's a joke there. But maybe better not to try and think that one through now. I was a little worried that somebody was about to yell at me, which would be a first along here. And there's the Forts Ferry Farm sign that I like because it means I'm at the top, or at least an inflection point. I think 2 summers ago, they repaved a bunch of Forts Ferry Road, which is quite pleasant now. And for whatever reason, maybe it's the winding, maybe it's just that it's not quite as close to major roads, but it seems like people don't speed as much along here as they do along Maxwell, closer to me, despite the fact that this road should support a higher speed. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm not going to complain too much because riding along here is quite pleasant. That being said, would I let my kids do it alone? Maybe my 8th grader, if they wanted to. Probably not my 11-year-old. And while I might ride along here with my 5-year-old at the right time of day, like maybe 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, I think I would be nervous the whole time. Oh, that's fun. A couple of goats, or a goat and a sheep or something. It's a good way to get the elementary school kids out, learn something in the process. Here's where riding along Fort's Ferry gets dicey. Surface is rough. There are parked cars to worry about. You can get pinned along the edge by the potholes and other problems. Not sure what that van behind me is going to do, or truck. What's the Porsche gonna do? Okay. Or Mazda, I guess it's not a Porsche. If it isn't painfully obvious already, I know relatively little about cars. Except how to drive, having driven in, I think, 46 of the 50 states at one time or another. I found out about this pass through just this spring. I don't know how long it's been open, but it certainly beats the additional time on Old Niskayuna. I guess that's at that point it's Waterfleet Shaker Road and Wade Road. And I think there's a connector in there that isn't either of those two. So this cuts off a little distance, which when you're riding for pleasure and exercise is not really a gain, because I'm not trying to get from one point to another. But being able to ride this stretch without cars and industrial vehicles zooming past me at 50 miles an hour is a big improvement. This is also a rarity in Colony in that it is a, well, hold on. I will share my thoughts on that momentarily. It's a rarity in Colony in that it's a relatively new subdivision, or subdivision at all, really, that allows for a pass-through. A big part of what makes Colony difficult for cyclists is that all of the subdivisions were allowed to be built by the town without having any connections to each other. And so part of what makes our traffic bad as well is that all the traffic gets funneled onto a fairly small number of collector roads, which then back up. If you had a more evenly distributed graph of connections, that traffic could flow a little bit more evenly. And people will say, well, you don't want people using your residential road as a through street. And that's absolutely true in some respects. But there are other ways of mitigating traffic in a residential neighborhood. Narrower roads, curbs, trees, all of which serve to keep through traffic to a minimum in residential neighborhoods, even if connections are available. Apparently another technique, and as a cyclist I like this, but as a citizen I'm not as sure, involves creating roads that are dead ends for vehicles but allow cyclists and pedestrians to go through. Which certainly helps to make your cycling better. Doesn't do too much for your traffic problem. except that every trip that's taken by bike instead of car improves your traffic to an extent. And if one of the big impediments to taking trips by bike instead of car is a lack of direct routes and a lack of routes on roads that feel safe to ride, then opening up bike-only routes will indeed help to an extent. Well, that firehouse means basically at the end here, one of the entrances to my neighborhood. So thanks for riding with me. I'll be back next time.